Who should replace Jurgen Klopp? We were talking just a second ago, and I'm excited because Nubaid has said that there are 2 people that he likes on the list that we're going to go through. And also, you weren't having the first name that I would like to talk about, and Tottenham fans are going to get angry at me again, but it's just because I want to talk about Ange Postecoglou possibly being the next Liverpool manager. There are other options, so just get comfortable. Ange Postecoglou, you're not having it, are you?
It just makes no sense.
So, okay, let me say this to you.
For who? For everyone, it makes no sense. So, but let's hear this.
Right.
Pitch.
So Ange Postecoglou is playing great football, okay, with a squad that's been decimated at different times, and he's made a big move quite quickly, right? He has made it very clear that he is a big Liverpool fan, okay? So again, I'm not saying that he would definitely take it, but I'm actually not saying that Liverpool would offer it to him. But if Liverpool did offer it to Ange Postecoglou, you don't get that opportunity very, very often. And I think it would be very, very difficult for Postecoglou to turn that down unless there is a clause in his contract that says you can't go to a rival.
I just don't. I think the type of guy is, and maybe I'm speaking on behalf of him in terms of his character, the type of guy is I don't think he leaves Tottenham for Liverpool because Liverpool came knocking. I think he has enough faith in himself that at some point down the line he maybe gets that opportunity again. And also I think he has a sense of like morality and loyalty to Spurs that he wouldn't jump ship and just leave them.
Okay, you're a Liverpool fan, right? So say
do I want to manage Liverpool? I do.
No,
I do.
Yeah, but again, say you're managing and you've gone on that same journey that he's gone on, and then Liverpool, by some stroke of luck with this incredible team, go, Ange, do you want to do it? Or Nubaid, do you want to be the manager of Liverpool? What are you doing?
But I'm not Ange. My sense of morality is different. If I was managing Spurs, and
it's not about morality. I don't think it's about morality.
No, but I think morality is maybe the wrong word. But I think for him, he's got a sense of loyalty towards Spurs. That he is like the face of this new Tottenham Hotspur, and he's taken that on board. I don't know whether he just snaps Liverpool's hand off because they made him an offer.
Is the feeling that strong? Has to. Is after 7 or 8 months, is the feeling really that strong?
I think it is.
Tottenham fans adore.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
and I get that.
Sorry, I mean from Ange to Spurs' perspective, it's like, is he genuinely that loyal already? I know he's having a wicked time, and they're doing really well, but like, I do find it hard to believe he's that attached to Spurs that it would be like a moral conundrum and he wouldn't jump ship because it would be the end of the season, right? So I feel like if you were Ange Postecoglou and you wanted to manage Liverpool because you're a Liverpool fan and it's a great opportunity, and the 2 clubs agreed compensation in June, you'd be like, all right.
And Tottenham fans hate me right now because I've recently said that Man United should go for Ange, and I am shopping him about a little bit, but it's a compliment. It's a compliment because I think he's brilliant, and I think what's interesting about the other names here is he is that little bit older, and I think he can deal with the pressure a little bit better. He's got so much experience that's kind of been under the rug of other leagues, and so if he steps into it, I think a really important thing here, and is always important, is context. And I think when you've got someone like Jurgen Klopp, whoever the next guy is, it's such a difficult job.
It is.
So when you have someone like Jurgen Klopp, it is impossible. But what kind of shape of a manager do you want?
So here's the thing: it can't just be about managerial ability. It has to be a little bit about personality, right?
Absolutely.
So before we started recording, I said to you, the job is for more. The Liverpool job is more about the man than it is the manager.
Yeah.
And like, yes, Ange is a great man.
What a man!
But I also think like Liverpool fans wouldn't be going, because Liverpool fans have to feel an immediate affection towards whoever it is, and it won't be like the Klopp affection. But if Ange is the guy, I don't think Liverpool fans go, oh, yes, we found our solution.
Yeah. When it comes to personalities...
Is there anybody, Nubaid, that you will...
There is. There's a man on the list.
I can't believe it. I know what you're going to say, but we'll get there. I think this is so interesting in terms of the personality thing as well, is that because, Kenny Dalglish is obviously, a god there. Quite a quiet man. Rafa Benitez, similar thing. Quite a quiet guy. Bob Paisley, quiet guy. Jurgen Klopp has kind of sort of blown that out the window a little bit, which is just the way that he is and how enjoyable that is to be if you are a Liverpool fan with him. So what do you think is the right personality off the back of such a loud, heavy metal manager?
I think the managers you mentioned were also at different times where Liverpool, especially Rafa, Liverpool were like in the gutter. Whereas now like Liverpool see themselves as title contenders, Liverpool fans and the club. And so I think the feeling has to be affection towards the character, whether the character's loud or like in reality, if Steven Gerrard didn't have a horrible time managing Villa and now he's in Saudi having a terrible time, that character would be fine just as much as someone like Luis Suarez would be fine, like explosive or quiet. But Liverpool just need an affection towards whoever it is. The fans, should I say, need that affection.
Yeah, to the man.
The plan wasn't it? The whole thing was like, it's fine. When Klopp goes, it'll be Steven Gerrard. That has been ruined by Steven Gerrard himself mostly, and a checkered managerial year or two. So that's out of the window. I think Liverpool fans a couple of years ago probably thought they'd be quite well set for this eventuality. I think that there's a plan in place, right? Like, okay, fine, we know what we're going to do. And now it's like, oh no, what happens next?
Well, so the plan for me screams Xabi Alonso.
Seems like Alonso.
Screams it.
Yeah.
I did a video on my channel sort of looking at the sort of setup of it, and when I was sort of looking into that, it was sort of like, I was like, there's some work. There would be some work that needs to be done if he is to play very similar to the way that he plays by Leverkusen. But when you come back to what you say, it's dangerous to go for the same guy.
Yep.
They have to be themselves. They have to have their own identity, but they also have to be impressive. And I think they also have to have what you spoke about in a previous video, and I think this is a bit of a buzzword right now, especially when you see what Xavi has said. Energy. Yeah. You need to have the right energy, but you need to be kind of trusted to a point as well. And I think Xabi Alonso kind of fits all of that mould. I fear for some real growing pains and actually a very difficult first season. But it might be one where you go, look, the guy's a legend here. You give him the time.
Yeah, that's where the personality kicks in. If it is a difficult succession first season, which it almost always is the case when Klopp will have completed 9 years, right? Wow. I mean, and what a character and what a symbol of Merseyside. It will be very difficult for whoever this is. So that's where the character bit kicks in, and that's where someone like Ange can get everyone on board. Kind of easygoing, kind of fits the mold a little bit.
With Xabi Alonso, like, everyone's on board. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and that helps too. So I think the only thing that can stop Xabi Alonso to Liverpool is Xabi Alonso himself saying that step is too much for me right now. Because you look at his managerial career to date, which is pretty short, he's been pretty cautious and guarded about which steps he takes, right? Rather than just jump into a role like a Gerrard or a Lampard, he took charge of Real Sociedad's B side. He was a Real Madrid youth coach. And then he goes to Bayer Leverkusen, where, like, no disrespect to the club, it's pretty difficult to fail because their nickname is Bayern Leverkusen because they never win anything. So anything is good, right? He's been very calculated with what he has done so far. And if he turns around and says, succeeding Klopp is a bit much for me right now, first of all, I wouldn't blame him. Wouldn't blame him whatsoever, but also wouldn't be surprised if he's got that long-term goal in sight.
I think this is now is the time to go, because he's gone through a very cautious period. I think at some point a manager has to go, I think I've got myself in a nice position here where I've managed the underdog and got them into a title race when we didn't expect to. I've turned players that were good into brilliant.
Stock's high.
Now, and now, like, maybe he goes somewhere after this and it's not Liverpool and it doesn't work out. Liverpool won't come back for him.
Gerrard.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
exactly
essentially what happened, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if that's what everyone's going, oh no, not yet. Don't go from Rangers. Go and be brilliant somewhere else. And if he'd gone to Villa and done what Unai Emery was doing, it'd be there.
The job's given to him.
We know exactly what's happening. Yeah. So I think I kind of agree with you with that. And again, I feel like the announcement is possibly down to the fact that so many teams are going to be looking for managers this summer. Yeah. And
I mean, a day after Klopp announces his, Xavi goes, and it's like, well, okay then.
Nobody cared. We don't care.
You've got Real Madrid, you've got Bayern Munich, you've got Man United, where it's a precarious situation with new ownership who might want their own guy as well. There's so much there. There's also some other names here. So let me read out the list of names first, and then Nubaid, talk me through the two you like. So Xabi Alonso is the favourite. Then Roberto De Zerbi, Pep Linders, who's the assistant, of course, and we've spoken about Julian Nagelsmann, Rúben Amorim, Unai Emery, Marco Rose, Zinedine Zidane, and Thomas Frank. Who are your two?
So before we start, I said there's the only two guys on that list with a beard, but I've just realised De Zerbi has facial hair.
I thought that's who he was talking about.
No,
and that's when I said back to you, not great facial hair. Personally, just
I meant Rúben
so.
Amorim.
Yes.
I think in terms of suitability, in terms of character, in terms of style of play, and also in terms of energy, Rúben Amorim brings that. The only worry, obviously, is he's going from Sporting in a league that is currently, you probably agree with this more and know more on it than me, is kind of in transition a little bit, where he's gone and won the league once. And they're doing very well, and they are a very good side to watch. I think a lot of what he's doing is somewhat transferable, but the jump is like, if we're saying for Xabi, like Bayer Leverkusen to Liverpool's a jump, Sporting to Liverpool, that's like, yeah, that's a climb. That's the Gladiator. You haven't seen the other video, but in the other video, in Gladiators, you have to climb up this thing. Yeah, it's a climb. And so Yeah, and then the other names, as Zidane's been mentioned a lot this week, I don't think Zidane can come and do the Liverpool job. Zidane,
he would never strike me as someone that would want the job. He's the guy that's holding out for I'll go back to Real Madrid a third time, or I'll take Juventus, or I'll take France after Deschamps.
Totally agree.
And it's he's got 3 jobs on the list, and he checks the news every day, and if they're not open, he goes back to bed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think when you talk about energy, that feels like a drop. Almost too much of a drop.
But he does have a personality and aura to him that is very special. However, I don't necessarily think it's a match for Liverpool. I agree that Amorim has not only the facial hair, but the personality to manage Liverpool and please Nubaid for sure. He's definitely very personable. He comes across very well, and he also loves Sebastian Coates. So he and Liverpool
there's
have
a bond
something
there
in common.
So who was the second name? Or was it
Xabi Alonso?
Xabi Alonso. Okay, those two.
There's some really bad fits in there, by the way. Unai Emery as a personality fit feels awful for Liverpool, really bad. And Pep Lijnders, I'm sure he's a great coach, but goodness me, what a step that would be.
Yeah, too much.
I don't think it doesn't work very often moving number 2 to number 1. It almost never works.
No, I agree. One name we haven't spoken about, I actually don't hate it, but I think with the Xabi Alonso thing, I think you set and forget. You go, right, he's our manager. Whatever happens in his first year, it's a bit like Guardiola when he came in. You go, the first year's going to be what it will be. People call him Fraudiola or whatever, and then look what happens, right? Nagelsmann, I don't hate Nagelsmann, but I can't. I could see it being one where he has 18 months, and then you bring in Alonso.
So the way he left Bayern is a bit of a concern. Just the reporting around it, right? The talk, I don't know if it was just Bayern painting a bad picture of him or something like that. Yeah. But obviously they didn't necessarily like his attitude or his the serious amount of tinkering that he did during games that irritated players. There's this thing about Manuel Neuer not being happy because he fired his goalkeeping coach, happens to be his best friend. To be fair, the Bayern Munich dressing room notoriously very difficult to win over. About 2 people have done it in the last 10 years. So maybe that isn't a knock on Nagelsmann, but maybe this isn't quite the right fit.
Yeah, I do think he's the sort of manager that will get Liverpool fans off their seat, because people will still remember that people were saying a couple of years ago he will be the greatest manager. Yeah. He's the next guy after Pep Guardiola. The only worry with him is that he comes into a dressing room that is very cohesive and gets along perfectly fine. There was about 12 Bayern players who said he's upset me. This sounds like Ten Hag all over again, and I don't want a dressing room of upset guys when we've had a happy bunch for a long time.